ever running of the Gulf 12 Hours Bahrain edition. Lights go out and they start to flick their way up towards turn one. We're on the full Grand Prix circuit, full 3.363 mile, and already there's lots of squeezing going on up towards turn one, but it is going to be the two 2Cs McLarens that will lead the pack. Great start though from the Bentley on the Ewan Mackay from what was at 6th position on the grid. Ewan Mackay is already up into 2nd position. Lewis Williams will have to take to the curbs to open wheel protection systems on the cars on the way. Braking area for the next corner now. Nikolai Kadai is up the inside of Brendan Reed to take as long as Lewis Williams to go through, but then runs wide on the next corner as has a spin. Unfortunately, been going so well, but he just tried to sneak up the inside that little bit too early. And Porsche. It's fair to say that over the years of the running of the Gulf 12 Hours, which have prior to this event, always a little small mistake there from Valentino Rossi, who just, I think, was about to either get worried of what is being done to it at the moment. They are not limited for the amount of tyres. Pirelli are the sole tyre supplier for this race, but they are not limited to the amount of tyres that they can utilise. Brendan Reeb under pressure. Valentino Rossi dives at the inside of the McLaren. They go side by side through turn number 8. This is, I think, just about going to hang on to it. It's Brendan Reeb, but there's more traffic up the road. The GT4 leading Mercedes is going to be dispatched a lap down by this little trio. Mauro Calamia takes the opportunity to dive up the inside of Valentino Rossi now as well. So Rossi was looking to gain a place, almost lost one. As a result, they are still in the same order as they charge their way down towards turn 11. Watch out for the Mercedes that lies ahead, that they need to try and dispatch and a lap down as they head towards turn number 11. Rossi under pressure from Calamia as they go past the Mercedes at the same time. Is Calamia going to come out ahead of the Ferrari? I think he might just have done it, you know. Yes, he has. The dynamic Porsche goes through and ahead of Valentino Rossi. And for poor old 22-year-old Italian Benedetto Strignaro, there was not a great deal that he could do there because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time as far as the 3 GT3 cars were concerned. All the way it applies for the categories is for Pro overall and GT3 Pro classes only a 1 hour or 60-minute minimum driving time for each part of the 6 hours. Applies to each driver. So it's very easy to work it through. Valentino Rossi has another little nibble at Brendan Reeb and should go through at turn number 10, which indeed he does. As long as he doesn't run wide and gets cleanly off the exit, should hang on to it and does so. A couple of places lost of Brendan Reeb, I'm afraid to say. Mauro Calamia already having disappeared up the road, having overtaken him, and now Valentino Rossi also fixes his pocket. Reeb trying to fight back though, straight line speed of the McLaren. No, not going to do it as they head up towards turn number 11. So yes, in GT3 Pro, i.e. overall, and in GT3 Pro Am, each driver has to drive for a minimum, brought up into 4th position by Emanuele Tabacchi. But that is also in the pit lane. You can see it there, the red and white car. You can see Valentino Rossi just racing Ferrari is still in there as well. So, right, we've also had into the pit lane and back out. Didn't spot that with the number 72 car. Brendan Reeb came in. Now the Inception Racing with Watson Motorsport McLaren, real overtaking places in towards turn number 10 perhaps, because we're now into the twiddly section, downhill section as well through 5 and 6 and 7, and then ever more downhill in towards turn number 8. So I don't think that he's going to be able to do anything here about Nick Moss. Takes a nice wide line in towards turn number 8. Try and cut back on the exit, but his best opportunity if he wants to try something is as you head round through 9, try and sneak up the inside at turn number 10. Is he going to try it here? He is. He's going to have a quick look, thought about it for a split second. Nick Moss, I think, also thought he was coming and therefore left him room where he didn't really need to. And now Luca Marini is going to run alongside Nick Moss, the McLaren on the left of your screen to the right-hand side of the circuit, but Luca Marini will have the inside line as they head up towards turn number 11, and does indeed the Monster VR46 Ferrari through and up a place, so up into 5th position overall for that Ferrari. That will put it up to 4th in the Pro Am category in the hands of a driver who won 3 Grand Prix at MotoGP 2 level last year. Luca Marini, as we know, the advantage that's been built up in the early stages has been a significant one. It is Alessio Salucci, so Alessio Salucci dives on board the number 46 car, so that cycles through all 3 drivers in the Monster VR46 Ferrari. So Valentino Rossi having started, Luca Marini having dispensed just a few moments ago with his driving, and then Alessio Salucci jumps on board for this middle section, you could argue, of the race. There's a few more tweaks come in as well, using the way so far. We've also, I think, had leading all of the way in GT4, the number 90 Mercedes as well. Alessio Salucci trying to get past the car that currently sits second in GT4. So that's Jan Klingelberg, who blends out of the throttle, allows the number 46 Ferrari that runs fourth in GT3 Pro-Am to go through, fifth in the race overall. Because for Jan Klingelberg and the Optimum Motorsport team, they will be more than focused on just making sure they hang on to what at the moment is second in the class. They should be pretty assured of that because part one, so we're 15 minutes away from reaching the halfway point of part one of the race. Into the pit lane does indeed come Alessio Salucci, so instantly obeying the drive-through penalty and heading down pit lane. And what he now just needs to do is make sure he obeys the pit lane speed limit, and then once you get to the cone, start to accelerate your way back out onto pit lane once more, because there are speed cameras all the way down the pit lane area, and any other issues with pit lane speed, it will be dealt with by another drive-through penalty. Right, so yes, Roberto Pampanini still bottled up behind Alessio Salucci. They are lapping 2 minutes 6, 2 minutes 7. So Pampanini really needs to get on with it, because Modric is closing to the tune of about 4 seconds a lap at the moment and is now right up with them. So Pampanini jinks one way, but that's the outside line heading up towards turn number 1. Alessio Salucci is going to squeeze towards the inside. He's still not going to let him through. Alessio Salucci is desperate to try and stay where he is and make sure that he's not lapped by the Porsche, but this is not doing Roberto Pampanini, the Porsche, pick Alessio Salucci and put a lap on him. So a flash of the lights from the McLaren. Over the start-finish sign, they'll go. That's lap number 85 now completed. Alessio Salucci lets the McLaren go through. Roberto Pampanini, however, is still bottled up behind and just cannot unlock the door to try and work his way ahead of the car that he is ultimately trying to lap, that Ferrari. Kodrich made it look for RC4 of Patrick Zamperini. 2 cars still in the pit lane. The number 72 Inception Racing with Optimum Motorsport McLaren, which is Brendan Reeb, who brought that car into the pit lane with brake issues. We know no more regarding that just as yet. And also in the pit lane, as it has been for a huge amount of time, as eventually Roberto Pampanini squeezes up inside of Alessio Salucci, but Salucci then is able to get by on the exit of the corner at turn number 1. So just as Pampanini finally had got it done, it's taken him lap after lap after lap. I was going to, that was, you sort of almost pitched my next question to you, because I was going to say, you look at the pace of the 3 of you in qualifying and the pace that you've seen in the race, whether it be Issa or Martin or yourself behind the wheel, you're all of a similar-ish pace. Yes, of course, Issa's a little bit off yourself and Martin, but that's expected. Raced one before, he's been going beautifully well. Quick look at the replay. Now, this is what happened. This is Ian Logie seeing that Ewan Mackay was throwing the Bentley up the inside, all 4 wheels on the curb for the Bentley, which bounces over it. Good job Ian Logie didn't turn in, otherwise they would have bounced off each other. And as a result of that, that compromised the exit coming out of the corner for the Mercedes. And Valentino Rossi took the opportunity to unlap himself from the Mercedes and has actually now started to pull away from it, you can see as well. So he has not made any further progress. Ewan Mackay in the Bentley is pulling further away from the Ferrari, but the Ferrari of Valentino Rossi is pulling away from Ian Logie. Leads overall. Another quick replay. You can see this was coming out of turn 1 and turn 2, where Ian Logie had just managed to get himself ahead of the Bentley, kept his foot in as he bounced over the curbs and was just able to hang on to it. But it was later on in the lap, after this section, where eventually Ewan Mackay thought, I've had enough of this, I want the place away. So you can see all 3 of them trying to outfox each other. Ewan Mackay deciding at that point on the lap, discretion was a better part of Alan. There was almost contact there. Look how close that Bentley is to the tail end of the Mercedes. Ewan Mackay having to get off the throttle. And as they then went through turn 6 and turn number 7, I think this is the replay of the overtake again that will be coming up. It was just after GT4 class leading McLaren into the pit lane this time. I didn't think they'd leave him out in clean air for a couple of laps. So Valentino Rossi dives for the pit lane. We've also got the number 8 Ferrari in as well, by the look of things. So that is going to be Marco Freitzer getting out of the number 8 Kessel Racing. Mechanics have to drag it back to where it needs to be. Out comes David Fuminelli. So he's about to start his pit stop. They're also having to now drag back the number 46 car. They've boxed them all together, hardly room to get them all out. But the good thing is that you have that minimum time period where the cars have to be in the pit lane. So you do have, if you get the pit stop done efficiently, an extra few seconds just to make sure that you can get the car where it needs to be. And as the 46 comes back out, I was right. It is Luca Marini who takes over that car. So Luca Marini will be behind the car for the final, the wheel of the car for the final. So that car might be 30 seconds adrift at the end, but it will start on the front row of the grid alongside Ben Barnicoat's team for part 2 of the race. Taking the checkered flag, Luca Marini comes through for 2Cs Motorsport. Callum McLeod, second for Ram Racing. Roberto Papanini for Dynamic Motorsport, third. And Team Parker Racing, Andy Marriott, fourth. All of those on the lead lap. The order you see there gives us a starting grid for part number 2.